Hi, my name is Michelle, and I wanted to explain three major groupings that I have found for scale fingering patterns. When I was a teenager and I learned my major and minor scales, my piano teacher at the New England Conservatory Preparatory School just assigned me a new scale with right hand and left hand each week. She would write it out in my music notebook with each of the pitches, and she would write down the fingerings. And I memorized them. 24 individual scale fingering patterns, and I just gradually learned them that way. But since then, I have learned that there's a much easier way. If you look at all of the scales and notice the things they have in common. So I have come up with three major groupings for scale fingering patterns, and a way to sort of simplify all those 24 different fingering patterns into just three. So instead of memorizing 24 things for your right hand, 24 things for your left hand, you could just memorize three, okay? And then you start on a different place with each scale and you apply one of these three patterns to each of the things that you learn. This is so much easier, you guys. Okay. I'm really excited to show it to you. And I just want you to know that this is sort of an overview. This is an introduction. Don't expect to know all 24 major and minor scales by the end of this video, but expect to know the fingering patterns that apply to all of your major and minor scales. In future videos, I will explain how you know which black notes to play for each of the scales, what the circle of fifths is, and how you figure out the patterns of adding flats and sharps and things like that. That's a whole lesson for a completely different day. But what I want to explain to you today is these groupings and how they all kind of have the same set pattern of fingering for your right hand and your left hand. So there are three different fingering groups that I have kind of lumped together. One is the C major fingering. One is the black key fingering. And the last is what I call fixed flats. So let's dive into it. Let's learn a little bit about what that means. The C major fingering is one that we almost always begin with. It's the first one that most piano teachers will teach. You probably have learned this one. And this one is 1, 2, 3. Cross your thumb under 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. At the very top of this fingering pattern, you use your pinky. It's the only time your pinky gets to play in a scale. And then you come back down. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So that's the C major fingering pattern. So if your white keys line up just so that you can do your thumb crossings at that standard point, 1, 2, 3, cross, 1, 2, 3, cross, then you're going to use this standard fingering. C major fingering is the basic standard for all scales. And so it fits into most of them. C major, G major, D major, A major, E major, with both right and left hands are all going to have the same standard C major fingering. And then a lot of the minors also, A minor, E minor, B minor, D minor, G minor, and C minor, they all fit into this C major fingering. Now I don't expect you to memorize all of these different letters or whatever. That's fine. Just wanted to show you, okay, we've got at least 5 scales in major, 5 scales in minor, with your right and left hand doing all of them. Your fingers are doing the exact same things. You just need to learn this pattern. I showed you the right hand for the C major fingering pattern. The left hand is the same. If we start at the top, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Using your pinky only at the very, very end. Okay, so that is a C major fingering with the left hand. When you start at the bottom, it kind of reverses and you do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this C major fingering pattern works for a whole bunch of the major and minor scales. In fact, that is the default. It's the standard. It's one we're going to use unless there's a black key in the way of the thumb. So all of chords. And every other funky scale fingering that you have is because of one simple rule, and that is, I mean, look at your thumbs. How much shorter are they from the rest of your fingers? How much farther are they from the black keys? You don't put your thumb on the black keys when you're playing a scale because it has to reach so far. It's like a really awkward twist. It doesn't work very well. It doesn't sound very good because often your thumb will kind of thunk really hard if it's reaching that far. We don't want to put the thumb on a black key. And that's why we do all of these other things with scale fingering. That's why we change it up a little bit. But just know that no matter what else you do, you're always doing an alternating pattern of 3s and 4s, 3s and 4s, 3s and 4s. But you might start on your second finger and do 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, and then starting, you know. So it might be in the middle of that pattern. It might be broken up a little bit, but it's just groups of 3s and 4s. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Okay, the black key scales is actually something I teach in the very first piano lesson with a brand new student. It's so fun, so easy, and we just go like this, 2 fingers, put them on the 2 black keys. We find all of the 2 black keys on the piano with right hand and with left hand. And the black key scale fingering just has your 2 fingers on the 2 black notes. And then it has 1, 2, 3, these 3 on the 3 black notes. So, how easy is that to remember? So these 2 on the 2 black notes, these group of 3 on the 3 black notes, and then your thumbs go on the white notes in between. And it's foolproof. There is no way to mess this up because your thumbs really only fit on the white notes. So the black key fingerings are really quite simple. I'm going to show you F sharp major with both hands, demonstrating this idea. Okay, so a group of 3 is what we're going to start with. And we do these 3 on the 3 black keys. Now, thumbs come at the same time together, right hand and left hand. And then these 2 on the 2 black keys. Thumbs on the white key. So for all of the black key scales, you just have to remember 2s and 3s. Thumbs go in between, all right? It works for B major. And it also works for C sharp major. And B flat minor, G sharp minor, which are all related to these major scales. So super easy, 2s and 3s with the thumbs in between. So can you remember that? Do you think that's easier than having to remember, oh, let's see, this scale starts on 2, and this scale starts on 4, and this scale starts with my thumb, and then I cross over. You don't have to remember all the different things if you just get this basic idea. 3s on the 3 black keys, 2s on the 2 black keys, thumbs in between. No matter where you start, that's what you're going to be doing for black key scales. Okay? So black key scales, C major fingering. Now, fixed flats. It's a concept that I might have to sort of explain in several different ways for you to understand. But once you get it, it's like, oh, okay. That does make it easier. All right. So there's this idea of a fixed fingering pattern, that no matter where we start, our fingers are always going to be playing the same place. It's easy to learn that fixed fingering with F major. Thumb on F. Can you remember that? Thumb on F. 4th finger on B flat. Okay, that's fixed. In all of these scales, F major, B flat major, E flat major, A flat major, D flat major, G flat major, F minor, and B flat major, all of those scales, all with the right hand, your hand is fixed here. Your thumb is on F. Your 4th finger is on B flat. And this is always the same. Because of that, you're also always going to have your thumb on C, okay? because we alternate groups of 4, groups of 3. So if you have your group of 4 here, no matter what the pitches are, whatever scale you're in, if you have your 4th finger here, you're always going to cross your thumb under and have your thumb on C, okay? So the fixed pattern for the fixed flats is that your thumb is always on F, your thumb is always on C, and 4th finger is always on B flat. No matter where you start. This is a fixed fingering pattern that we all kind of like, we circle around it with all of these different sets of notes, but you always have thumb on F and C, 4th finger on B flat. Let me demonstrate a couple of these so you can see what I mean, okay? So if we start with F major and we're going F, we have our 4th finger on B flat, okay? 4th finger's always on B flat with these fixed flat fingering patterns, okay? So now let's look at the next scale, B flat major. Starts on B flat, it's in a different place, but look at it and notice, where's my 4th finger? Where's my thumb, okay? 4th finger on B flat, thumb on F, thumb on C, 4th finger on B flat. Same pattern, different notes, different scale. But it keeps this fixed 1 and 4 on F and B flat, okay? E flat major, we add in another black note. We have E flat, B flat, and A flat in this scale. And it starts on a 3rd finger, and we have a thumb crossing right away, which feels kind of strange, but just remember, thumb has to go on F. That's fixed. So that's why we do it. So start here and then your thumb is next because we started on E flat. We're going to put the thumb on F right away. But just remember, your thumb and your 4th finger, always fixed, okay? So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I remember learning this scale as a teenager and thinking how tricky and complicated it was. It's really not that hard if you just remember that your 4th finger goes on B flat always with all of these right hand flat scales, okay? The next one is A flat major, and it starts on an A flat with your 3rd finger, but guess what? 4th finger's on B flat. Thumb is on C. Thumb on C, thumb on F, 4th finger B flat. Okay, same thing for D flat major. Thumb on F, 4th finger on B flat. Do you think that you understand the idea of a fixed fingering? So the fixed thing is that your thumb is always on the same note, your 4th finger is always on the same note. And even though we're starting in different places, we're actually playing different sets of black keys and white keys, but we have that fixed, consistent pattern that you always have F, B flat, and C like in the same place. Okay, so that helps kind of give you an anchor. It helps you know where to put your fingers in all of these different scales. G flat as well. Now the fun thing about D flat and G flat is they are also in this black key scale pattern. So you've got 2 ways to kind of make sure that you're doing it right. So fixed flats. That's a little bit about the fixed flat patterns. So that is what we do with the right hand. Now left hand is a little bit different. It's more of a finger number pattern that's consistent, and I think it's really fun. It makes me think of the Addams Family song. So we have 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. And we can do it anywhere. We can do it in E flat major as well. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. Okay, so all of these left hand flats scales follow this same finger pattern where you do 3, 2, 1 first, and then cross over your fourth finger on the fourth pitch of the scale. So same with D flat and A flat. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. And we do it on D flat as well. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. Okay, so that's a little fun way to remember the fingering patterns for your left hand when you get into the flat scales. And just know that all of your major and minor scales are going to fall into one of these 3 categories, and that's going to simplify your fingering process. And just like the way you organize it in your brain, the way you store the information and memorize it, it's going to be a lot easier if you break it down into just 3 simple groups. So I hope that taught you something. I hope that's useful. Go ahead and ask me your questions if you want me to explain something further. And I will continue to be posting more lessons about major and minor scales so that I can really explain all the theory behind them and how it all works. Because it's one of the best foundations for learning piano and also learning any instrument is just understanding how the flats and sharps work and what the groups of major keys are. So thanks for listening. Have a great day.